everybody, Shantae here, and I'm glad you are here too. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. But if you are here, that means you are interested in knowing more about breast cancer, and more specifically, HER2 breast cancer, which is the cancer that I was diagnosed with. Around us more than we know. It's way more prevalent than we actually realize. So, welcome. Now, time to get to the nitty-gritty. When I was diagnosed, we're gonna have to go back to 2018. Actually, no, we're gonna have to go back a little further than that. I just realized we need to go back to 2017 when I found the lump. That's the very first step. 2017. First, I'm going to give you guys just a little bit of back history of what I had going on during that time. I was a program manager for a great company called CSI, Community Systems, Inc. And I worked for individuals with intellectual disabilities. And if you ever worked for a group home, you know how intense and time consuming and demanding it can be, especially if you're a program manager. Just saying. So keep that in mind. All right. A lot of people did not know this. God, I'm about to expose another secret of mine. Here it is. So I also had a fiance. Sorry guys who are just finding out. Yes, I had a fiance. And of course my son, who was 10 at the time. So that's what I had going on. All right. Now, I don't remember where I was, if I was in the shower or whatever, but I did feel my breasts. I felt it at some point in time, and it was very small in size, about a pea size. And I mentioned to my fiance, I'm like, I feel something here. It's, different. That wasn't there before. And he's like, oh yeah, I felt that a long time ago. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Wait, what? You felt it a long time ago? Hold up. Men, this is the first thing I want to say. If you feel something on your woman's breast, tell her. Why not tell her? Like, I don't even get that. And here's another thing that I realized. Like, my fiance, he was sorry, grandma. He was a breast guy. He loved breasts. That means he felt it for a long time. So all I have to say, if you feel something, say something. Especially the guys, they know the difference because they're feeling it every time. Right? So I know that the men can tell a difference more so than the women because you're on it every day. Versus a woman, we usually just check, like once a month or whenever we remember. We don't feel it every day. But let me tell you, you men are up on it every day. You don't forget it. So at least my man didn't. Just saying. So back to the story. So I felt it, and I reached out to my aunt first, who is the youngest out of all my aunts. She mentioned to me that, in our family we have lumpy breasts, we have fibrosis. Hopefully I said that right. If I said it wrong, please correct me down below. But we have fibrosis. Not to worry. She told me not to worry. Sorry, auntie. Don't feel bad. But so this was 2017 in November, the month of November. So now November, December, January, February 2018 comes. Finally, I say it's time for my yearly checkup. This is when me and my son goes. It's his birthday month. His birthday's in February. Let me just get it checked out now. During those 4 months, it never alarmed me because it never grew bigger. And sometimes it even felt smaller to me, which was strange, but it did. So I thought, okay, she was right. I have lumpy breasts. Whatever it is, it's just going to disappear. Never once did it cross my mind. Breast cancer. I don't know why. So I go to the doctor. I mention it to her, and she says, don't worry about it. I mean, it can't be breast cancer. It's obviously nothing alarming. You're healthy. I mean, let me tell you this. I am what they considered perfectly healthy. I've never had any issues where I had to go to the hospital, stay overnight. Never, not once. I'm what people consider perfectly healthy. Our doctors consider perfectly healthy. I've never had any health issues before this. She said, you know what? I'm going to refer you. Because obviously you have to be referred to a specialist. You can't just go. Otherwise you got to pay the big bucks. So I was referred to a specialist who then set up an appointment with me, and I went to her, and she also told me, you know what? It's nothing to worry about. I don't understand. Like, when I go over this story, all of the doctors that I came across, they all said nothing to worry about. So in my head, I was sure enough, I was in the clear. But in any event, she also said, nothing to worry about. You're too young. You're in your 20s. Listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take it out. We're going to remove it. You don't need it. Whatever it is, it doesn't belong there. You don't even need it. So let's take it out. Now, so the doctor saying that was actually a jump. The first step typically is what's called a biopsy. And that's when the doctor just takes a syringe and withdraws some of the tissues and cells from the lump and test it. This procedure isn't too invasive. You're awake for the procedure, and they just use local anesthesia for that. But for me, during that time, I had bigger breasts than I have now. I had way more weight than I have now. And there was just veins all over the place. The doctor just felt like it wasn't safe to do a bisectomy. So we jumped right into a lumpectomy. And that's why she said, let's just remove it. So a lumpectomy is a little bit more invasive. It isn't too bad of a surgery, but it is considered a surgery, and you are going to be asleep for the lumpectomy. And with a lumpectomy, they remove the mass entirely. They go in, remove it, and then they test it that way. So I had the procedure. I woke up, and I remember not being too groggy because I went to the casino that same evening, just saying. All right. And a few days later, she calls me, and I'm telling you, I didn't think nothing of it. I was oblivious to the fact that it could be cancer. I think that has something to do with what my aunt told me, something to do with what the doctors were saying the entire time before being diagnosed with it. I mean, so my phone rings. Hey, can you come down to the office? Sure, I had time. My son, my fiance, they're with me. We drive there. They stay in the car because, well, they're men, they're boys. They want to stay in the car. They don't want to come with me anyways. They never do want to come inside with me places. But I go in. She brings me to this room, and I don't know why it did not dawn on me then, because there's a room with a box of tissues just waiting for me, and it's just us. And it didn't even dawn on me. I'm telling you, it didn't even dawn on me. So I'm sitting down, and she breaks the news. Yeah. Let me tell you, in the movies, you know, when someone's talking and all you hear is blah, 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 and they're talking to you, trying to explain something important to you and you're dazed out, yeah, that happens in real life. That's exactly what happened to me. As soon as she said, you know, you have cancer, the rest, I couldn't tell you anything else that she said afterwards. Totally was just zoned out. And I never have known myself to cry as much as I did. The way I did at her office. I mean, just tears are just coming down my face. I couldn't control it. But she reassured me that we're going to fight this thing together. Anyways, I collect myself because my son was in the car, my fiance was in the car, and I just did not want to tell them. I didn't want to tell anyone, as you guys know. So I get to the car and I try to keep my composure, and they can tell something's wrong. They can tell, but I'm the type of person that when I'm aggravated, okay, you kind of got to give me my space. They knew that. So they asked me what was wrong. I said nothing, just got a bad phone call, leave me alone. And that's what they did. The rest of the evening went, you know, normal. But here's the craziest part. The next morning, when it was time for me to get ready for work, get my son ready for school, I couldn't get out of bed. I could not get out of bed. It was like this pain all in my body. I could not get myself out of bed. It hurt physically. Like, it hurt. I don't know what it was. I called my sister. I told her I can't get out of bed right now. I'm sick. I made up whatever story. And I told my fiance, I just don't feel good. So I had my sister pick up my son, take him to school. She took care of everything for me that day. My twin sister, the real MVP. Thank you, sis. And while everybody was gone to work, my son was at school, it hit me. I'm like, Shantae, what is wrong with you? The only thing that has changed since yesterday is the fact that someone told you have cancer. But before that, you were getting up, going to work, getting your son ready for school, making breakfast. You were doing everything. Like, get your tail out of bed and get out of bed right now. The whole day had passed. It was probably 8 p.m. at night when I finally got myself out of bed. By the time I realized and told myself and convinced myself, get your tail out of bed, the whole day had gone by. Let me also tell you guys this. The mind is so powerful. If you don't take anything from today's video, take this, please. I convinced myself that I was in pain and that I physically could not get out of bed. I told myself that. I don't know how I did it, but I did. All right. And I made my body feel like it was in pain. I'm telling you, your mind is so powerful. You can move things with your mind. And I don't mean like just move this right now with your mind. I mean, you can literally create energy with your mind. I told myself I was sick. My body began to feel sick. When I told myself, Shantae, you're being silly, you're not sick, get up, I somehow was able to create the energy I needed to get out of bed. It's going to be the same scenario. You guys understand how strong the mind is and focus on winning this fight. I'm telling you, in anything in life, I'm telling you, if you put your mind to it, get your mind in it, and it can be done. I promise you, that is a guarantee. I can guarantee that. So I got myself out of bed and I started the fight. Before I let you guys go, I want you to know that when you first get diagnosed, it's okay. Take all the time you need to understand what you just heard, to kind of accept it, because let me tell you, when I first heard it, it was so surreal. I didn't believe it. It's just, even to this day, when I talk about it, I still feel like, did I really go through that? That's how surreal it is. But I want to say, take the time you need to understand it and rationalize it, but don't take too much time, because we're going to need your mind to be in the game to fight this thing. So, and there's the story of how I found out and when I was diagnosed, February of 2018. Now, guys, I am going to see you at the next video, but if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so you can get notifications of when I post the next video. Every video is going to be informative and there's going to be something to learn and definitely take from it, so you don't want to miss that. All right, guys, I love you and I see you next time as we fight this H.E.R. too.